This is a recap for Monday, November 29th. Today in class we introduced algebra. So we started with the question, what is algebra? So some of the responses were it's fill in the blank, but with math, math with letters and numbers, order of operations with letters and math symbols. We also did a little survey about how difficult students thought it was going to be to learn algebra. This was the easy, and this is the more difficult, and most everyone was right around here. So let's look at other periods. So period 2 thought they would be difficult, introducing letters into math, something I'll probably forget about when I grow up. A high level of math, using the dot for multiplication, substituting numbers for a letter in the sum. That was kind of an interesting idea about algebra. And then they were in the kind of the same area of difficulty, like it's going to be pretty difficult. And last period was kind of the same. And then we took notes. Let me show you where that is. The notes are from Pear Deck. So you go here to Pear Deck, you log in. When you log in, I'll go ahead and log in. There are 3 videos. Khan Academy, so you can take notes from the Khan Academy, and then we took notes on either 2 or 3. So if you're doing this on your own, I suggest you do 2. So do the first 2 videos and take notes on those. One thing that we talked about in class was that you've been working on algebraic ideas ever since you've been in school. For example, in first grade they said 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. So you probably had your hands and you were counting up. But then they said 2 plus what is equal to 5? And then you were introduced to probably subtraction. So now we're just replacing that box with a variable. And to solve that, 2 plus n is equal to 5, you're most likely going to do inverse of adding 2, which is subtracting 2. And so you're doing the same thing for years, but not calling it algebra. The word variable has the word vary in it, which means to change. It could be called a changeable, we talked about. So then what we did in class was problems that said evaluate. So if W is 5, evaluate W plus 6. So we take this W, whoops, I thought I had the highlighter there. Take this W, and we replace it with this 5 from right here, and then simplify the expression. And the difference between an expression and an equation, let's write this down, an expression, I think I have this up here, oh, right here, expression versus equation. So notice how there's no equals on this side right here. So these are just expressions. So 2 plus 3, that's an expression. 2 plus some number, that's an expression. 2 plus n, that's an expression. It's like a word or a phrase. It's not complete. But when we have an equal sign, then it's an equation. Let's clean this up just a little bit. So here's another example of an equation. 3 times a number equals 9. So that's an equation because it has an equal sign. And what we also learned in class is that as we're taking notes, we have to write down examples because we're learning a language and you learn it through writing. And then we went through this little exercise that you at home or wherever you're watching this can also do. I want you to think about how many pets that you have. We'll do this one and let Let P equal the number of pets that you have. Write this, P plus 4. You've now added 4 to your number. My number happened to be probably different than your number, but my number made this true. The number of pets that I have plus 4 is equal to 5. So now you probably guessed that I have 1 pet. So yours might have been different than that. So that's how a variable works. It changes depending on the situation. So then we have the number of family members. So think of the number of family members that live in your household. And then I want you to multiply it times 4. So 4 times f, the variable for the number of family members. My number would be 8. So you probably quickly figured out that I have 2 people in my household. So yours is going to be different. Your equation will be different depending on how many people are living at your house. And the last thing I want to show you is that I've added in some practice. So if you go to week 10 resources and you go to the bottom, you can log in to 99 Math and you can log in right here and it will give you 5 minutes of practice on subtracting integers, and you can do it as many times as you want, and I suggest that you do it many times, maybe every other day. Just do the 5 minutes practice until it really starts to make sense. Because we need our integer skills in order to solve equations. So we might know how to solve equations, and we could do algebra, but we may make integer or fraction or decimal mistakes, and that'll keep us from getting the right answer. And that is a recap for Monday, November 29th.